Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? It's Hillary and Deb with the Ready Set Grow Show, and we are talking about how to discover your avatar. How to discover not only your avatar, but who this person is. What's their name? Where they come from? And you're probably wondering, why is that so important in my business? Well, as you know, Deb and we always bring you great training on how to start and grow your business online, helping you navigate through all of the challenges of the digital marketing world, especially for those newer entrepreneurs or even entrepreneurs who are like me, moms coming into this space, or like Deb, network marketers who are trying to bring that business online. Okay. So
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
just want to remind you, subscribe to our channels. And today we're diving into how to find this person that you need to sell to. All right. And we call that person the avatar. And one of the things is, as Deb and we've gone through this. And if you watched our last training that we did, we shared a little bit about our stories, right? And why our stories were important. Well, why our stories were important is because we've gone through this exercise that we're going to be going through with you today. We've gone
Exactly.
through this and we've actually done this quite a few times as our avatar evolves. Because what you will find is that the person that you want to work with or the person that you are reaching out, sometimes they evolve very much like how you evolve. But you still need to know who that person is, because if you don't know who that person is, you don't know who you're selling to, you don't know who you're marketing to, you don't know what they need, all right? And you don't know what you need to do to be able to help them. So that's really
Exactly.
important.
Exactly. And don't get discouraged because, like Hillary said, your avatar is going to evolve the same way you do. Because no one told me that when I first started 4.5 years ago. They said, figure out your avatar. Who do you want to prospect? Who do you want to speak to? And I'm like, okay, who do I want to speak to? Well, I figured it out back then and wrote it down.
Mhm.
And as I kept learning and evolving, so did my avatar.
Wow.
And so, don't be discouraged, is what I'm saying to you, is when you figure out your avatar, but as you continue to learn,
Mhm.
kind of, sort of, I guess you could say your avatar is too. So
Yes.
she or he is going to evolve just like
Evolve. Exactly. And that is something that, these questions, and we're not going to go through all the questions, but what we want you to do is have an idea of how do you discover this person? Because one of the interesting things about this exercise, as I think about it, I mean, and I did it a good few years ago, is that doing that exercise, I actually came up with the brand name that I wanted for myself, which was Hillary the Marketing Mom, right? And what is interesting is that Hillary's my name, the Marketing Mom. Once I became a mom, I was always going to be a mom. And for some reason, I always wanted to reach moms. And what I was doing is effectively marketing. Now, I'm an engineer, but I'm marketing. So even though I'm no longer a mom of one, all right, that's where I started. Very much like your avatar. Your avatar may be a mom of one today, but she's going to be a mom maybe of two, three, who knows, all right? And with that comes different things about the person, all right?
you. Right.
They would
Right.
probably read different magazines, they would probably frequent different places, and then we're talking about as they grow, all right? Because I remember one of my business coaches, and I know I'm sidetracking here from our,
That's
but
okay because I'm going to explain how I grew too.
one of my business coaches, I remember she would always talk about this story about when her kids were young. And what was interesting is that for those of us who were in her coaching program, we knew her kids like in late high school, right? But she always talked about the systems and the processes that she developed when her kids were young.
Mhm.
She always talked about that. And then when I looked around the room at who is being coached, there were mothers whose kids were young. So she had identified her avatar. So even though her kids were in their late teens, getting ready for college, her avatar was the mother of young kids because she had the solution for mothers with young kids because that's when she solved it, when she had young kids.
Mm-hmm.
She's not talking to mothers with teenage kids because when I looked at every one of her customers inside of the coaching group, we were all mothers of young kids. And it was like amazing how she had dialed in her avatar, right? We were all mothers with young kids. And she would always talk about, her systems, her processes when she had young kids, right? So that's the power of your avatar really dialing it in that way, right?
Right, right. And unlike Hillary, I also heard the same woman, and I'm like, oh, well, I could think of when my kids were young and how they were and what I felt as a nurse that I wanted to be with them. But as I worked through that, it didn't fit because my kids are grown and gone now. And it's like, okay, well, I could speak to someone with smaller kids, but I couldn't speak to them as a mom with a home-based business with young kids. So I struggled. So that's what I'm saying. Don't get upset when you might struggle a little bit, because I did. And what I struggled for, what the reason I brought my business online was because I had health, nutrition products. But as I evolved, not only did I have those products, but I developed a service. My service was for older ladies or men, and age range, I'm going to say 50 and older.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who has a business or wants to create a business online, I can do that. And what I do with my coaching, with my service of that, I've walked through all of those struggles.
Exactly.
And so now I can help them. So you see, where I thought I needed to start really wasn't where I needed to be. But when I finally thought, okay, I've got my health products, but now I'm doing health and wealth because I'm helping grow businesses, show people how to grow their business, how to possibly walk around a struggle that I had to dive through. So you see how
Mm-hmm.
Hillary's mentor, how
Yeah,
she could stay. She zeroed in, even though her kids had grown, but she had her business when her kids were young. When my
exactly.
kids were young, I didn't have a business. I was a nurse. I was out at the hospital, in the doctor's offices when my kids were young. Yes, I wanted to stay home, but I
Mm-hmm.
had no clue at that time. So we've got two different types of avatars.
Yes,
So,
definitely. And one of the things, so when you're starting to look at your avatar, you want to. There's always the demographics. Okay, you're looking at who they are, their age, the general sex. Are you looking mainly at women? Are you looking mainly at men? So sometimes
marital
it's
status.
marital status. Okay, are they married? Are they single? Do they have kids?
Mhm.
What's their education? What's their background? All right. And the thing about your avatar is that you are trying to zero in 9 out of 10 times to somebody who isn't exactly you, but somebody whose problem you can solve,
Right,
right?
exactly. And that's what you
Hmm.
that in a sense is your first question
Yeah.
to think about is what are their biggest sources of pain?
Yeah. What are
You
their
know,
struggles? What are they?
Mhm.
What keeps them up at night? I remember we had a shared. mentor, and he used to say, what keeps your avatar up at night? And I remember, even when my kids were young, I was thinking about college, because I remember what my parents, like, it was literally like the first thing that I thought of was not school, not clothes, not diapers, but oh, there's a child here, and in 20 years they're going to be going off to college. How am I going to pay for that?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
What keeps your avatar up at night? Is it electricity bills? Is it the car note? Is it their health? Is it the fact that they're overweight? Is it the fact that, they're in debt? And you have to think about these things, but also think about them in the context of, what do you have that could help them, right?
Exactly.
It could be
Exactly.
something as small. It could be something as small as, I can't get this blog post published for the life of me,
Yeah. Been there, done that.
right? And for
Yep.
some people, that keeps them up at night. And then for others, they're like, there's the button right there. You may be the person that's, there's the button right there. And guess what? You're going to show them that, and you're going to help them get their blog post published, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
dig into their pains, dig into their frustrations, what it is that they're frustrated about. And sometimes we think about these big things. Like I know I kicked off with college, right? Because that's big, that's huge. But what else keeps a parent? Like, so after you figured out, okay, is it a mom, a dad, a parent, da da da, what is really keeping them up at night? Is it the traffic that they have to face the next morning? Is
Right.
it the horrible boss? Um, is it the fact that they always work the worst shift on their job?
Yeah. And, when you're thinking about their pain,
Hmm.
kind of, sort of, it's also coincides with their fears, like Hillary was talking. How am I going to scrape up money to make the house payment? Oh my gosh, tuition. My kids are in a private school. Tuition is due. How am I going to get that extra money? Those are fears, those are pains. And you have the solution, a
Yeah,
home based business, whether they want to work outside the home. But they can also have a home based business. A lot of people do that, which
yeah.
gives them extra money
Money.
to calm them down as far as their fears and their pains not being quite so devastating to them. So, yeah. Um, and I guess also, what are some of the challenges that they face? You know, we just named quite a few challenges, which were pains or fears or challenges. It's
Mhm.
all kind of the same thing, but I guess you have to look at it since they're different words. You got to look at those words and think about, um, okay, I have a health product, and a person's pain might be arthritis. Maybe they have heart issues. Okay, how can I help them? Well, I have
Mhm.
a product that could help them. I
Yeah.
could help solve part of their problems. Um, their fears, okay, their fears could be not having enough money to pay the bills,
Mhm.
or something big's coming up that they want to celebrate, and
Yeah.
they need that extra money.
Extra money. Yeah. One of the big, like, for those that need that extra money, sometimes the fear isn't so much that I need the extra money to cover the bills. It's like, I need that extra money unless I'm going to be evicted. Now, if you add all of the other elements of your avatar there, like, imagine that for a single person, getting evicted might be like, well, I'll just sleep in my car. But if your avatar is a parent, they've got children, and that that problem now becomes a real fear. What am I going to do? I've got kids to feed, to
Right.
take care of, to house, to clothe. And now that becomes like a serious fear. And I know, like, I've heard it on so many different stories, other people's stories, where that's a real fear when your expenses are more than what you have coming in. It's a genuine fear,
It is.
especially if you're in debt, right? If you're in a lot of debt and you're trying to climb yourself out of debt, you could be a college graduate, but every month you gotta pay those bills, and it's just like, I mean, it's that's a serious fail. Okay.
Exactly, exactly. And so that kind of leads us to what are their biggest desires? Well, I think we just talked about it, making more money. Um, and you can't, in a sense, you can't just look at the money. Hillary and I are here to give you value, to serve you. Do we make money with our businesses that we have? Yes, we do make money. We can make money, but the biggest thing is we're serving people.
Yeah.
And that's got to be number one in your mind. Who can I serve? You have to be a servant leader.
Leader.
And so you have to look at their desires. Like,
What do
okay, what are they desiring? Oh,
Yeah.
maybe they got a special anniversary coming up. Like I said, I'm looking at the older generation.
Okay.
And maybe they have a special anniversary and they would love to take a trip that has been on their bucket list with their husband or wife. That would be an awesome desire, don't you think?
Yes. Yeah.
How am I going to
What a
afford
good-
that? Okay.
Yes.
So,
And then if you have that solution, you put that in front of them as an opportunity. And what is great is that, desires again, it doesn't, as Deb says, it doesn't have to necessarily be something that's monetary,
right,
right? When I think of some of my when I did my avatar exercise, right? Desires, something as simple as having time to spend with kids. So obviously my demographic is the younger moms, right? Having time to spend with kids, to be able to go and play with them out in the yard or do whatever you will want to do.
sorry.
Not a problem. Right. Everybody's desires stretch, right? And you have to be able to figure out, okay, the person that I want to reach, what's their desire? Are they really, really wanting a business, or what is it that they're really wanting the business for? And sometimes when we think of desire, you got to go a little deeper. You've got to
Oh,
think as business for. What are they trying to achieve? What is the end game of this business? All
right,
right.
right.
Is it so that they're able to move into a bigger house? Is it so that they're able to come home and homeschool their kids? Is it that they're able to have a family vacation every 2 years or whatever the case may be? Because it's not about the money. And one of the things that desire is really just about the money, but what the money could do for them,
Right.
right? And for their family. And one of the things that, again, back to this mentor of mine, one of the things that she was saying is that she identified, and like myself, I identified I needed more time. And it's interesting because as an engineer, I used to optimize processing plants so that we can get more time to get more product out of the factory. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about that is that as an engineer, I couldn't figure out how to optimize my own time to get things. It's very funny. And I had to have somebody external come and apply that same logic to my life so that I could have more time to spend with my kids.
But
What do
Hillary,
you
that that is for all of us. We're so close to it, we can't see it.
we can't
Somebody else has to come and point it out to us. And it's like, duh, how did I not see that?
How did you know? Exact. When I sit down and think about what she did, I was just like, but I did this in factories every day. We look to the right. So and the thing is, your desire. Sometimes, as you said, the problem is so right up in your face that you can't see it. You can't see the solution. All
Right.
right, and that's where you come in. You come in by being able to understand what the problem is and know the solution and be able to point it out, because your avatar has that desire to solve the problem, whatever their problem is. They have a desire to solve it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you haven't figured out by what Hillary and I have been saying is, and I think Hillary actually said it at the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
your avatar is going to have a personality like yours.
Yeah.
Is it you? Could be, but
Could be.
maybe a little tweak here or there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be real close
Yeah.
to what you have experienced,
Experience.
what you want to or have figured out, and now you want to pay it forward, so to say.
Exactly. Yes.
So,
You want to help. Yeah.
yeah,
And that's like when you go deeper, and the thing is, going deeper, that is when you start to realize, oh, this person looks a lot like me.
yeah, 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 actually. So, but another thing too is you have to understand what kind of information are they consuming. And I told you I'm looking at older people
Mhm.
that want to bring a business online, but they don't know the technology. Yeah, maybe they can get their email, but that's probably about it. Maybe they kind of understand Google and Google search this for me, but so in my case, I kind of already know what kind of
Mhm.
information they are seeking because I
Mhm.
had to seek it.
Yeah.
So you have to also think about that too, is what kind of information and, what kind of books are they reading? What kind of websites are they looking at?
That's the
In my
thing.
case, I didn't know to look at websites. I was like, okay, no, I could do my emails, and that was it. So you have to kind of, what you're doing is you're building the picture of the whole person.
Poor person.
And so you can't just look at the pains and their desires and their fears. You have to look at what they are, how they're
Who they are.
trying to help themselves.
Yeah. How are they trying to help themselves? And not only that, but who they are. Because sometimes they're not 24/7 thinking about this problem that you have to solve. They've got recipes to make, so one of the things that was interesting is just like, depending on your avatar, they may be looking at car magazines because they love to do that racing thing. I don't know what it's called, the Grand Prix, right, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Maybe they're
There's lots
into
of races.
right? Maybe they're into racing, or maybe they're into golfing and they love golf and they follow golf and they're into golfing magazines. Maybe they're into cricket, for my international people, or football, or as the Americans call it, soccer, whatever the case may be. But you're getting into something that's beyond just, oh, I'm in debt and I have to solve this debt
Exactly.
problem, or I really can't figure out how to get my business online, because they're a human being outside of that,
Yeah.
right?
And
They
what
go
you're
out to eat,
Yeah, what you're
right?
doing is you're looking at them as a whole person.
Whole person, yeah, definitely. So you got to dig into that. So it's like, what are they reading? Where do they visit? What clubs are they a part of? Maybe, I don't know. What are some of the other things, that we generally look at? Stuff they're reading, places they're going, things that they're buying. All
Right,
right,
right.
things that they're
Products
buying,
and
products.
services that
Yeah.
they are buying and using. Yeah,
Yes, definitely. So you want to delve into all of these things. These are, you're really getting into it. And I think, like, for me, again, when I was looking at my avatar, I was thinking, okay, mom, what stage? So it's like, what stage of mom are they at? And then, your son to think, well, diapers, or maybe potty training, or maybe no diapers at all, we're trying to go diaper free, or whatever the case may be, right? Natural, what you call them, not diapers, the cloth diapers, right? That's the
okay.
stage, right? That's one type of mom. And then you have the other type of mom who's like thinking about college visits, and whatever else, or the mom who is preparing her first daughter for her wedding. Okay,
Right.
you've got all of these different life events, I guess that you could call it, that life events are going to inform what they consume, what products they buy, what services they take part in, what magazines they read, all of these things, right? Once upon a time, I used to read a lot of engineering magazines. Not anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to think about this person. And actually, we talk about one person because that's who you're talking to, but there's millions of that one person out there.
Out there.
So
Okay.
when like in my case, when I got into network marketing, they said, "Oh, talk to everybody. Everybody wants your product." No, everybody doesn't want my product. Um, so, but I never heard the word avatar when I was taught network marketing.
Hmm.
But when I did bring my business online, is when I heard it, and it made so much sense to me because I'm like going crazy. How can I talk to all these people? And as I tried and found out, no, not everybody wants my product. Not everybody likes my product. Not everybody needs my product. Well, everybody needs my product, but anyway,
Hmm.
you get the idea. And so,
Yes.
next week we are going to delve into how to speak to your avatar. And so, just very quickly, just think about, you got to think about the age that you are thinking about, who you think you can connect with. Like you heard Hillary, she's a mom with young children. I'm not. I am looking at the older person, 50 and up,
Hmm.
trying to, whether they're retired, trying to bring on something new or whatever. So you see, we're looking at two different things.
Two
So
different age groups, exactly.
yeah, think about like an age that you of a person that you might want to see. The sex. Do you want to talk to men and women, or just men? Whichever. What kind of a career, and what kind of an average income range do they want, their marital status, children, their hobbies, oh my goodness, their political affiliations, and what other interests do they have. So just kind of, this is food for thought for next week because we're gonna talk about how to talk to
How
that
to talk to
person.
that person. Yeah. So once you figured out who that person is, now this is a very in-depth training that we've done here. I think we do need to refer the source. Okay. Don't know if it's still available, but this is from one of our older, well, I guess a training company, digital marketing training company, Attraction Marketing Formula.
Right.
All right. And I
Right.
think we that's where we first got it from. Okay. Now,
Exactly.
the resource, I don't know if it's still available. That's the whole thing. It's probably in a different form somewhere, but we definitely want to let our viewers know where this came from. It is a worksheet that
Mhm.
you could definitely work through and write things down. So if you're interested in maybe getting access to that, drop a comment below, right? And don't forget to subscribe to the channels. Drop a comment below and we'll see how we can get that to you because it is a much older document, but it's timeless in the fact that you still need to know who you're marketing to and who you're speaking to. All
Yes.
right. So, with that, next week we're going to be teaching you how to speak to these avatars that you're going to develop. Have a
Awesome.
good one.
Have a
Bye.
good week.